Hi everybody, and welcome back to this channel where we talk all about healthy relationships, intimacy, and safety for adults with intellectual or developmental disabilities. My name is Aubrey Brinkley, and I'm working on my doctorate in occupational therapy, and this is my capstone project. This is our 5th episode in a 7-episode series, and I'm so excited to keep talking through this topic of healthy relationships. We will be using the acronym IDD as we talk through adults with intellectual or developmental disabilities. So, how do we pursue healthy relationships if we have an IDD? Go back to episodes 1 through 4 to learn more about the history behind this subject, the why behind the subject, the safety behind this subject, and so much more. We'll also be using education tactics tailored for adults with IDD that we learned about through episode 3. So, go ahead, get some background knowledge, and join us today to talk more about forming relationships. We've gotten this far in our series. Now it's time to talk about how do we actually form relationships to build fullness of life and increase our well-being. Let's go ahead and jump on in and talk through our 4 different constructs that we'll be focusing on today. First, we'll be talking about levels of intimacy. Then we'll jump into differences in relationships. We'll focus on boundaries. And finally, we will talk about gradual growth. These are 4 different constructs that will help build out a safety and independence net for our friends with IDD. I am so excited whether you're a healthcare provider, a parent, a teacher, a coach, or an individual with IDD yourself. Join along as we talk through these topics. Let's go ahead and get started with levels of intimacy. To begin our conversation on levels of intimacy, we are going to create a storyboard. Storyboards are ways that we can educate with a tactical background. So it's a great way for our neurodivergent thinkers to see and learn all that we are trying to educate on. If you want to learn more about storyboards and how we use them, go back to episode 3 where we talk in depth about this subject. But if you're ready, let's go ahead and build out different levels of intimacy, different levels of relationships and connections that we can find in our lives. It starts with yourself. We are the focus of this storyboard. That's why we're at the top of the level of intimacy. This is all about our relationships and our connections. So outside of ourselves, who is closest to us in our inner circle? An inner circle can be the people that we are most connected with, the people that we share the most with, and the people that we find the most safety with. Those would be our family members. A family is a group of people we are related to by blood, marriage, or adoption. These are the people that are close in our inner circle. Next in our level of intimacy is an intimate partner. This can be a girlfriend, a boyfriend, someone that you share partnership with. This is a romantic relationship or an emotional relationship where you get to share connection. Next is our friends. Our friends are in our close circle as well, but they're not as close as our family or our intimate partner. Friends are people that we share a mutual connection with that is pretty close, and we can share some intimate things with them. Next is a casual friend. A casual friend is someone that we know, but we're not super emotionally connected with them. We don't share secrets with them. We don't tell them about our inner struggles or the inner parts of our lives, those are just people that we're acquaintances with. This can be a friend of a friend, someone that you see all the time at work, these types of people. Next are professional helpers. A professional helper is someone that helps you with your personal goals in life, but they're not in your personal life. So this can be an occupational therapist, a physical therapist, a doctor, a psychologist, someone that you can share things with, but they're not in your everyday activity. They don't come over to your house to hang out. They are still a part of your connection, but it's a professional relationship. And finally, on the outside of our connection circle are strangers. Strangers are people that we don't know. We don't have any connection with them. They're just people we see on the street or when we're out and about. These are people we do not share intimate connection with. So let's review this storyboard. At the top, we see yourself. Then the people closest to you are your family members. Then maybe an intimate partner, your friends, then a casual friend, then professional helpers, then strangers. Now that we've talked through levels of intimacy, we're going to talk through differences in these relationships. We're going to go through varied behaviors that people may have when they create connection. We're going to make sure that we understand what level of intimacy that behavior suits to make sure that we are being safe, showing respect, and going along with social nuances that are the social norms. As we go through these different behaviors, you can think about where would this go on the storyboard, and you can add to this storyboard that we've already created for levels of connection. Let's start with waving hello. Waving hello is a great thing that we can do to create connection, but it's safe practice not to wave to strangers unless it's a professional working in an environment where we may need to ask a question. For instance, waving to a grocery store worker who can help you find the cheese that you're looking for. What about shaking hands? Shaking hands is a great professional behavior with people that you're acquaintances with, people that you know, that you're familiar with in your life, but not people that you're super connected with. Shaking hello can work for professional helpers in our life or casual friends. What about side hugging? Side hugging could also work for professional helpers in our life or casual friends. That's if you both feel comfortable with that level of intimacy and you feel like it's a natural thing that you can do when you get to know someone moderately well. What about forward-facing hugs? That's a little more intimate. Going face-to-face and hugging someone is a little intimate, so I would save this behavior for a family member or an intimate partner. What about holding hands? Holding hands can also be super intimate, so I would save this for an intimate partner, or if it's a family member that you're really wanting to be close with in that moment, that's a great tactic as well. What about kissing? This is definitely an intimate partner behavior, something that you can share with a partner that you both feel really good about that and feel safe doing. It's important to give some really tangible ways to see the different nuances of these physical interactions. It's really awesome to be able to create these connections, but we want to make sure that we have good boundaries where everybody feels safe and respected. Next, let's talk about boundaries. We're going to talk through 3 different types of boundaries that can be really important when we create connection. We're going to talk about emotional boundaries, time boundaries, and physical boundaries. I love setting the stage with these 3 because emotional boundaries can make sure you're feeling safe, time boundaries can make sure people are feeling respected, and physical boundaries are so important for everyone involved. Let's go back to our previous episode, episode 4. We talked a little bit about emotional regulation, and we learned that how we feel is how we connect. We're going to bring that back in today because creating emotional boundaries starts with yourself. How do you feel? Maintaining in contact with your physical feelings that are telling you, okay, am I feeling safe? Am I feeling comfortable? Am I feeling nervous but okay? Staying in tune with your heart rate, your breathing, your movement will give you a clue to how you're feeling emotionally. It will show you how your body is responding to a connection and give you the tools to understand, I'm feeling great, or maybe I need a little help right now. We want to encourage understanding your emotions as you go through connection, so then you can advocate for what you need. And practicing this through role playing, which was talked about in episode 3, is a great way that you can practice this in real life. Say you're out and about and something new happens. Your friend with an IDD is maybe feeling a little overwhelmed. Check in with them. How is your heart rate? How's your breathing? How's your movement? Do you feel like you're a little bit fast or a little slow? What do you think that could mean? Okay. Do you think that you're feeling like you need to change? Something needs to change in this environment? Maybe you need to take a step back, or maybe you need to be around somebody you trust right now. Those conversations can be really helpful to start bringing that awareness in. So when we do embark on this journey of independence, we have more confidence that our loved ones will remain safe and have good self-advocacy. Our next boundary is time. This sounds a little silly at face value, but it's really important because when we start to connect with someone, we have a new friend or maybe a love interest, we could get a little too excited sometimes. I know that I have this situation with a lot of people that I meet, and I have to let them know, hey, at a certain hour of the night, I don't like to be called or I don't like to be texted unless it's an emergency. So starting at the baseline of creating a boundary with timing and with respecting other people's time is awesome. Give your adult with an IDD that language. When do you feel comfortable receiving connection? And when do you think it's okay to give connection to others? Whether that be text messaging, visiting, or connecting on social media. All of these different nuances have different timelines. So creating a physical schedule that can help people with an IDD understand how to have that respect when it comes to time is really helpful. Finally, we're going to talk through physical boundaries. So shaking hands, giving a high five, fist bump, side hug, all the way to a kiss. These are all different ways that we can have physical interaction with others. It's a normal part of human behavior, but everybody has different needs, and sometimes those needs may change on the daily. It's important to begin this conversation with our adults with IDD so they know, hey, it's completely normal for all of us to feel different wants and desires, and maybe those things change. Checking in with how they feel. Hey, do you want a hug right now? Or saying thanks for asking if they ask for a hug or a high five is a great way to begin that education around consent, which we'll dive more into next episode. Our last construct we're going to go through today is gradual growth. Gradual growth is the nuance that we don't just fully jump head over heels into a relationship. That's not the safest or the most emotionally mature way to embark on connection. Let's make sure that our friends and family with an IDD know that to create great safety and to create really deep connection, it takes some time. You have to build trust and comfortability with each other. So just giving that language starts the conversation around gradual growth. I'm going to give you some conversation starters, and you can go back to your storyboard that we created earlier with the levels of intimacy and the differences in connection, and use these conversation starters to, 1, connect the conversation starter to the right level of intimacy, and 2, role play based on that conversation starter. Take turns connecting and pretending like you are in that scenario. Say you have a connection point where you say, "Hi, how are you today? It's good to see you again." This is an acquaintance or a casual friend. So you know, boom, that's where it connects. That's the right level of intimacy that we're looking for. Now let's pretend like we're having a conversation and we're just casual friends. This means that person doesn't know a ton about your deep parts of your life, and it's not maybe a place where you want to share any big secrets or any big intimate parts of your life. But you can still have a wonderful, engaging connection with that person. It's just at a different level of intimacy. So let's practice these conversations and I'll give you some different scenarios. Hello, how are you today? You greet someone with a handshake and say, "Hi, I'm Aubrey, it's nice to meet you." "Good to see you today, how have you been?" Giving someone a big hug and saying, "I miss you so much." Giving someone a kiss on the cheek and saying, "I'm so glad we're back together." Think about what level of intimacy this would be and what gradual growth you can have going from there. Thanks so much for joining in today. I'm so excited and so grateful to have this opportunity to talk through these different things with y'all. We will be joining back together for episode 6 to talk through consent and making sure that we are feeling safe no matter what level of intimacy we're approaching and everyone is feeling comfortable and respected. Don't be shy to reach out to me if you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, or just want to share your experience around these topics. I love hearing from you guys. Thanks so much for joining and talk soon.